Welcome to Married AF. We are your hosts, Brooke and Randall Fowler. On this show, we discuss the topics that really matter.
Like big veiny cocks and our favorite TV shows.
So pull up a chair at our kitchen table and hang out.
While I bulldog my nuts. Hello, Married AF listeners.
What up?
What's going on? How did that sound?
Oh, I'm deleting that out because that just blew my fucking eardrums out.
It blew mine out too. I'm tired.
What's the word?
Yeah, so what's going on, everybody? Suck your dick. And mine.
You said that like you expect people to answer.
I do.
All right, so...
Yeah, got a cool episode here for you coming up.
Number 60.
Yeah, we've got Jenna
Minecci.
She's a boss. Let me tell you.
She's awesome.
She is a author, athlete, champion, advocate, and winner, and Tennessee Vol fan.
But we don't hold that against her.
No. So we have a chat with her. Listen to this in the nude if you want to get the most out of it.
Has nothing to do with being nude, but she is awesome. She's super nice and super smart. She has a book, Surviving 7, that's out on Amazon.
Yeah, she got all kind of cool shit. So
and she is available to
train, mentor,
yeah,
advocate for. There's all kind of cool services, and you'll hear that in this episode. So most important thing is to pull your butt cheeks apart and sit on something. And enjoy this. Yeah. Hey, Jenna.
Hey, Randall.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thanks so much for finally sitting down with us for a few minutes.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I want to kind of explain to everybody. We kind of we were linked up through Dr. Jason. He's my chiropractor. I don't know if he does any work on you, but he had recommended you to me, and I kind of started diving into your book and your story. And I got to tell you, at first I was like, this is incredible. But we kind of share a little bit in common as far as the injury bug, you know, surgery. Well,
no.
I haven't had the same multiple on just the knees, but I've had a bunch of them. So I was really looking forward to talking to you. And so I kind of want to dive into it. First off, this is Jenna Mineci, right? Is it Mineci?
Minecci.
Yes. And she goes by Gen Active on Instagram, and I recommend following that page. It's incredible. The way that you kind of document your process is awesome. And so anyone that is, you don't even have to be facing a knee surgery, but any kind of a surgery can draw inspiration from, you know, how you handle it and your outlook on it.
Yes. Well, thank you. That was a big goal with that, was helping people through their journey.
Yeah. And so, so you not only have the Instagram, but you wrote a book, Surviving 7. What made that kind of come to fruition?
I had always wanted to, but it was one of those things of just sitting down and doing it, which we all have trouble with, right? I guess anger sparks that in me, because I sort of thought that all of my surgeries and injuries were behind me. And then all of a sudden I found out, you know, all my pain was coming from yet another failed surgery, and I needed two more surgeries. So I actually sat down and started preparing for my surgeries, and I kind of realized, you know, I know so much about prepping for these surgeries. I wonder what I would tell someone going into this the first time. And then I kind of, as I kept prepping, I just kept writing down everything I was doing and writing, you know, my frustrations and my happiness. And I kind of looked up 3 months later and basically had a book. So
Nice.
It kind of helped me to channel my frustrations in a positive way and sort of make something out of what, make lemons out of lemonade, so to speak.
Sure. And you do personal training, right? You're a personal trainer. You're very active. And
Yes.
all the while I kind of want to set the story. You've really been dealing with knee issues since you were like 13 or 14, right?
Correct.
That's incredible. Yes. How do you tear your ACL at 13? I mean, I played high school football with a couple guys that tore them in high school, but 13, wow.
Yeah. Well, female athletes ages 12 to 17 are the most at-risk population.
Really? I did not know that.
And it's all, it's estrogen, less muscle mass, widening of the hips, increase of hormones. I mean, it's so many factors going against the teenage female athlete that I don't understand why every coach isn't doing preventative measures. And that was another underlying mission of mine. It's just a simple fact, as far as teenage female athletes are concerned.
So I kind of want to set the scene here for how it all started. From everything I've read on you, I want to make sure I'm right. But you grew up, you loved football. You still love football, right? That's what I understand. You had great hands, wide receiver, and you love soccer. And you tore your ACL the first time on the soccer field, right?
Yes, correct.
What was that like?
It wasn't scary because at the time I didn't know what I'd done. That was a contact injury. So I actually had side tackled somebody and tore my ACL and actually tore my labrum in my hip all at the same time. But I kept playing. I didn't know it was torn. I was limping around. I was yelling for my coach to pull me out. And he said, "No, we need you." And there were only a few minutes left in the game, but by the time the game ended, my dad had to carry me to my car. So it kind of went from, "Ouch, coach, this hurts," to, "Okay, I can't walk."
Yeah.
But, I was so young at that point. I wasn't scared. I didn't think about repercussions. I just thought, okay, I hope I can play next week. That was kind of the extent of your thought at age 13,
Did you hear the always mentioned pop on the first one?
I don't remember hearing it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because the collision was kind of so impactful in itself. No.
Wow, that's nuts. So it swelled up on you pretty quick, right? Like by the time you were done?
Oh yeah, within 20 minutes or so. Yep.
All right, so your family gets you. I'm sure you go to the doctor that night or to the next day, and you have to get an MRI, right? Usually that's always the case. Is that the first thing they deal with you? So how'd you handle being so young, facing that and getting told it's a major surgery? I
thought I was in a movie. You know how when you're almost sitting in a doctor's waiting room watching yourself? That's what it felt like.
Sure.
And I remember the doctor came in chuckling, and my mom and I are all scared and wondering, why is he laughing? And then he kind of says, "Hey, it could be worse. The guy next door just tore his ACL on his second knee." And I'm like, this doesn't make me feel better,
Yeah.
But I think I really just thought surgery, like how on earth could I ever even approach that? I'm just trying to figure out how to navigate high school. I mean, I really had no clue what I was in for.
And so you had that surgery. You're recovered enough to where, from everything I've read, that your doctor clears you to play again, like 7 months later?
Roughly, yeah.
And so you're playing, you don't feel 100% yet.
No.
But you're told you can play, so like any athlete, you're like, all right, well, I'm going to get out there and, play around with it, and it'll get there. And you blow out your other knee. Jeez. And you knew it this time, right? Like, yep.
Oh, yes. The moment I felt it, I knew 100% what it was, to the point of I actually was laying on the ground laughing. Like, this
hilarious.
has to be a joke. Like, there's no way. You're crazy. No. And then my coach is coming up. "Hey, stand up. You're fine. Stop goofing around. Stop laughing." I'm like, "Coach, this isn't a joke. I tore my ACL. I'm not going to be able to walk on my leg. Will you help me? Will you call my mom? I need my crutches. And he's like, what? No, you're fine. You're fine. Just walk on it. He even calls a doctor over. The doctor says I'm fine. Like, guys, I know what it is. I know what it feels like. And sure enough, I was right. But this time it was the full triad, as they call it, the ACL, MCL, and meniscus. And I do remember telling my mom, you know, okay, I'm 95% sure I tore my ACL again, but this is way more painful than the first time. Do you think I could have broken my leg? And we kind of went through this whole, should we go to the emergency room? Nope. We need an MRI. Let's just go home. But it was definitely eye-opening because 100% as soon as it happens, what you're about to go through all over again.
Yeah, that's crazy because kind of, I've had 4 knee surgeries, but mine have all been orthoscopic meniscus cleanups from, having pieces hanging out and just kind of going in and cleaning them up. And just that, I know the last time I had it, I had some, the way that they explained it, but, my knee was just locking. I could feel it clicking, and I knew something in there was just messed up. But, every time I've went in there, like, your ACL is super strong. It's never going to be a problem. It's all meniscus related. And that hurt like a son of a bitch. So I can't imagine when someone does the full, like you said, triage of tearing everything in that knee. Because now I'm worried at my age. I've had 2 clean outs, and, I'm almost bone on bone in those knees. And, what scares me is down the road, the knee replacements.
Right.
Is that an option for you as someone that's had so much damage to the knees? I read somewhere like your goal is to not have to have that. Is that true?
Well, it's hard because I feel like each doctor or each surgeon I speak to has a slightly different opinion on the matter. And then on top of that, my age makes it all complicated. If I was 48 and not 28, they'd probably say, let's do a total knee. Let's do it right now. There's no reason why we wouldn't. But because I'm 28, they just... the likelihood of it even working at my age and lasting long enough is apparently a risk. And the amount of surgeries I've had that have failed, it makes it a risk. So, once you do the total knee, you can't go back. So it's kind of like, sometimes I just want to say, Doc, give me the total knee. I give up. I can't do this anymore. But then on the flip side, if the total knee doesn't go well, you are totally stuck. So, and normally they go well. It just, with my age, that's just the biggest factor. So,
they don't want to mess with you that young yet.
Right.
I think the lifespan on them is getting better and better with the new knees, but that's everything I was told too. That I was told that the first time when I was in my mid 30s, and they were like, we need to wait. It's, way too young. But my knees are okay. I mean, I just say they're just bad knees from, sports and years of stuff. But what blows me away is, you're a very active, very fit, very pretty lady. And I'm a huge fan of scars. I love scars. I think they tell stories. I've had my neck has been done. My knees have been done twice. I had a pec repaired. I've got scars everywhere. I love them. But your knees are awesome. I've seen the pictures on Instagram. Blows me away. And that's a compliment. Like, it's incredible.
Well, thank you. I'm lucky they use the same incisions, though, or they'd be even more beautiful, as I should word it.
Yeah, but so what's it like for a girl? I can only imagine. I'm not a girl, but in high school, especially at that age where, everybody's just trying to figure shit out and, going through puberty and all the changes that we all go through. And it's like you almost spent most of your high school in knee braces. All
of it. I had 4 ACL surgeries in high school, 1 for every year of high school. So
yeah. So I mean, that's got to be brutal, but also, I mean, if you can survive that, you could do anything.
Yeah, it got to me. I was also a tomboy, so I liked being the sporty athlete, and then a sport injured athlete, and then as the injured person. So, you know, I think that the hardest part of all was also just finding people to relate. Because as you mentioned, in high school, everyone's on their image and their friends and, you know, all that stuff. And, you know, my image was knee braces and nobody wanted to date the girl in a knee brace and crutches. And nobody wanted to take you to prom. And so, you know, kind of relating to people in general and even people relating to the physical and mental toll it took on me was really the hard part. Is just no one got it. No one understood. And even the athletes I knew with major injuries, they would heal up and make a comeback and move on. And I'm just still living this every year over and over. Like, so, and I think in some ways it took my femininity away, but I had to find the power in myself to kind of embrace the brace, so to speak, and make it feminine and make it me and not make it about the brace and the surgeries and that type of thing.
Well, so kind of fast forward, and it kind of becomes your mission where you want to learn everything you can about the knee and these surgeries that you face. And you start like, you know, shadowing your therapist and, you know, teaching, getting all this information. And now your main focus is you want to help girls avoid or navigate through this injury, right?
Prevent it ideally, but you know, most people aren't looking to prevent something that they've never had happen to them. So I think the other side is preventing the second injury, because once you tear your ACL, you're much more likely to either re-injure that one or tear the other one. So I think that's a big drive home message with what I do as well, is kind of having people realize it's with you forever. So you've got to continue to work on it forever to decrease your risks.
Well, have you thought, is there opportunity anywhere for where you think it would help some girls' knees to wear preventative bracing like in college? You know, our football team, the linemen all wear big Don Joy, you know, ACL knee braces, whether their knees are bad or not. And you'll see it in every major college football program. You look at their linemen and they're all braced up on their knees. Is that even plausible with girls, especially since they're at a higher risk, or does that take away too much movement?
You know, a little of both. I think it depends on the sport. I mean, the linemen aren't getting that much movement, and it's definitely preventative with them based on, you know, the movements they do with their sport.
Yeah, and chop blocks and things like that.
Yeah. You know, bracing is shown to help in some studies. In other studies, it's shown to be more effective to increase your muscle strength and proprioceptive awareness and reaction time. So that would be my thing with female athletes, is learning how to squat properly, learning how to land and jump and change directions properly. Once our hips widen, we lose all, you know, connection to all of those muscles and how they're working. And those muscles get weaker with puberty. And a male athlete, they get stronger. And so, you know, once these female athletes turn 11 and 12, they need to be on the soccer field squatting and deadlifting and, you know, running sprints in all four directions. And I mean, I remember playing soccer, and my boyfriend played soccer, and we were on the same field, and their practice was run totally different than our practice. We would run sprints in a forward direction, and that was it. They would run sprints in every direction. Yeah. They would go sideways. You know, I mean, it just, even the level of training would need to change before bracing would ever be feasible.
Wow. And so I know that you mentioned this earlier, but preventing the second one. I don't know exactly. Your first one, your very first one, was it a patella graft or like a cadaver? I've heard of both of those. Yes, it was
a patella graft. Okay. My first one on each knee.
Okay. And I read somewhere, or it may have been one of the times I listened to you on another show, where your first one, the surgeon didn't line the graft up right, or the angle. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the angle was very vertical, whereas it should be more at like a 1 o'clock to like 7 o'clock angle. So it's going to be a little more sideways.
Yeah.
So the verticality of it, I guess, if that's a word, caused it to be really loose. And then the tunnels that he drilled for the surgery itself were so far posterior or on the back side of my knee that it was even causing my PCL to catch anytime I would bend my knee. So the angles were just all wrong, essentially.
So it compromised your knee kind of from the jump. The correction actually compromised it again. And Brooke is joining us now. She wasn't here at the beginning, but my lovely wife
Jenna.
is now here.
Hi, Brooke.
She just got back from the gym. And
I had to take a shower. Sorry.
Yeah, so she had to jump in the shower. But Jenna, we're just talking, getting kind of caught up with Jenna. I think now we're toward the end of high school. You'd already torn both of them twice at the end of high school?
Well, so essentially, I tore my ACL on each knee, and after that, I stopped playing. My goal was to return to weightlifting, and that was it. Okay. And, about 3 months into this surgery on knee number 2, everything was painful. Nothing worked. We couldn't progress my rehab. And that's when it was determined that the first surgeon did both of the surgeries at an inappropriate angle, so to speak. And so I never had a re-injury on each knee. It was more of those surgeries didn't work, so we have to go back in and do another surgery on each knee. And so I had the revision my junior year and then the second revision my senior year.
Okay. And have you ever had any cadaver ligaments, or has it all been patella?
I have. So my junior and senior year surgeries were both cadaver. Okay. And, every surgery is different. Every surgeon has a different technique that they prefer. But a lot of the research I've seen shows that in younger athletes, especially, cadavers can have up to a 46% failure rate, which in my mind, 46% is a pretty high failure rate.
That's super high.
And that's essentially what happened to me. I mean, failure is a loose word, but both of my cadavers stretched out over time. My left knee, I was able to tolerate the pain for about 10 years or so after having multiple other like meniscus surgeries and things to try to, prolong the ACL. But ultimately, that was the surgery I just had last year. I had to have a bone graft first. So they removed the cadaver that had stretched out and they did a bone graft because I didn't have enough bone left in my knee to even perform another surgery. Yeah. And then I lived for 8 months while the bone graft healed with an ACL deficient knee. And then in January of 2018, I got the ACL and MCL reconstruction on the left knee, and they used my hamstrings for that. Okay. But my right knee still has the old cadaver in it. And there's no endpoint to the ACL, basically meaning that it's in there and it's not torn, but it's so loose that it's not serving its purpose. So my right knee, technically speaking, needs the bone graft and the ACL surgery. But at this point, there's nothing left in me and there's no more money. So that side is a little less symptomatic because it did not have the MCL tear, which is why I think I've been able to just kind of blow through the pain versus the left side was just without the MCL or meniscus. It was just, 10 years was as far as I could go on it. So,
well, that's kind of what I find, fascinating about you and inspirational is, you still keep a positive attitude about it. We follow you on Instagram and I see all your posts, and I mean, you could nobody would blame you if you were just like, fuck it. This sucks. This is why me? Or, I quit. I'm just going to be sedentary. And I mean, you're the polar opposite of that. And I really respect that. And I know there's a big need for that. And, you know, nowhere near the work you've done. But when I had my neck fused, I had 2 levels that were shit out on me, my C5 and 6, 6 and 7. And so I'd have ACDF surgery about a year and a half ago. Right, babe? Uh-huh. And everyone, you know, everything I read about it, I was studying it like crazy, was so, you know, what you hear on the internet is usually the people that are having a hard time because they need to just, you know, vent. The people that are doing well, they kind of move on and you never hear from them.
Yeah, so you need more of the positive influences.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, because
the few of them that were out there are what got me okay enough to do the surgery.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know, I got to do a YouTube video because I recovered pretty quick because I wasn't going to let it fail. You know, I just went into it like a challenge. And that YouTube video, you know, it's gotten a shit ton of views and people email me every day that are having the surgery, you know, that are like, you know, I saw your video because it's all positive. I mean, it's all mindset. And I want to see what you think about how important your mindset is to recovering from surgeries.
It's everything. Yeah, it's everything. I mean, as you know, when you come out of surgery, you've got nothing but your mind, essentially, at least an orthopedic surgery like this or a spinal surgery. I mean, you're weak, you're not feeling good, everything hurts, your muscles are gone, but the constant is your mind and the control that you have over your mind, over what you think, what you say, what you do, what you feel. And it took me a while. I mean, I know in high school I was bitter and I would be, you know, working as assistant coaches and things on teams. And I would be angry at the girls complaining about running because I just wished I could run. I mean, yeah, you know, and with maturity, I kind of took the anger and resentment and annoyance from other people and learned that, you know, they haven't had to go through what I have. So they don't have the perception I do. And that's fine. And because of my perception, I can also, you know, I can control my perception. I have the power to change how I feel based on anything I do. And that kind of was what really helped me with healing and with persevering, was just, okay, yes, I hurt. Yes, I'm in pain. Yes, this sucks. But if I think about that all day, it's not going to change it. If I don't think about that all day and think about my strength and my power and my health and my passion, then I'll be better off tomorrow for it. So it just kind of, it took a while, but it helped. And the biggest thing that helped me, I will say, was I started writing down positive affirmations every single day. And I started this before I faced my last 2 surgeries because I knew what was ahead of me. And at this point, I knew it was scarier because now I was an adult. I mean, before I lived with mom and dad, right. They would take care of the insurance. They would make me food. They would take me to therapy. I mean, I kind of just had to show up. You didn't have bills to worry about, and you know, and as a young adult, my finances are all mine. It's all, you know, my job, my time off. I have a dog to take care of. I mean, so it just kind of, I had to just control my mind every day on what I had control of. And that was my I can, I am, and I will phrases. And I started writing 1 or 2 each day. And then I started writing 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. And then I kind of felt stupid about it some days, but then I would have a really bad day and I would pull out what I wrote earlier that morning and I'd just read it. I'd just read it over and over and over until I believed it. And some days it would take 10 minutes and some days it would take an hour, but I would pull myself out of it by reading those phrases, like maybe things like, I am strong and ready to grow. I can do anything I set my mind to do. I will survive surgery number 8. I can conquer this obstacle. Just things like that just forced your mind into the positive and into what you can do and control. And that made all the difference in everything. And I challenged myself to start writing every day. And if I skipped a day, I had to start over. And I'm proud to say that this morning I wrote down day number 548 in a row. And that has changed my life 100%.
Nice.
That's incredible. I agree 100%.
Sounds like something Rachel was talking about on our last episode too.
And I tell everybody, you see it on the cervical group that we're a part of for the neck. I tell everybody, write it down. Mm-hmm. The goal, the expectation, everything. Write it down. You know, have your plan on paper so you can see it. Yeah, I think it's huge.
It's
right. Force yourself to concentrate on it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're way more likely to follow through on something that's on paper.
Right, and hold yourself accountable when you can look at it in your face.
Because I don't know if it's the same for knees, especially, you know, the catastrophic. Did you say it was the big trio when she tore ACL, MCL, and meniscus?
Jesus, how did that happen?
Soccer again, right?
Oh,
yeah, that
soccer.
was the non-contact injury. So I just planted my left foot to kick the ball with my right foot, and
Makes
it
sense.
just flopped right over.
Yeah, if it sticks the right way. I mean, I've seen things like that in football where they stick their foot down in the ground and it
right. In football, they're almost more likely, they jump up and celebrate a touchdown and tear their ACL versus like actually on the field doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Which 70% of non-contact ACL injuries can be prevented through proper strength training.
Well, that's kind of where I was going.
My fact of the day.
Yeah, that's a great fact. And so with the Gen Active thing, I know that there's a whole litany of things around. You know, you've got your book, personal trainer, your Instagram. Is your plan to kind of be a place where, like, say if my daughter, if she's...
You don't have a daughter.
I know, but if I have a daughter, or even a son, if he's...
Let's make one.
He or she is 12 to 17.
I know. Not right now.
And, we're here in Atlanta and they tear their ACL. Can I come to you with them and hire you to help with their recovery?
Oh.
Yes. As of now, I do a lot online. I probably need to pick your brain on the Atlanta market, actually. But I focused online just because that's sort of the easiest way to put it out there. But yeah, I do anything from, Skype mindset coaching to, if they're local, I'll actually go to the doctor with you, make sure you ask the surgeon the right questions and have the right game plan.
That's huge.
That's enormous. That's
people
worth
go
the
to the
money
doctor.
right there.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times, like, we were like, did you ask this, and this when we get home? And they're like, God damn it, no.
Right.
Yeah,
we got to go in with a spreadsheet.
When I went in for my neuro, when I was picking my neurosurgeon for my neck, I had a notebook and I wrote all my questions down. And one of the big reasons why I picked Dr. Belknap that did my surgery was he let me ask all of them. A lot of doctors will just want to, won't listen to every question. And I wanted someone that's going to listen for real.
Or
not just
shovel you off to the PA.
Exactly. And, you're going to take your time with me. For one, I'm not going to leave. A lot of people get discouraged and just quit asking. I'm going to ask them all. And he was great. But just that service alone of going to the doctor to ask questions. But, I could really see how valuable that could be for a lot of these young athletes because regardless of, what any of us think, these kids are getting, boys and girls are getting bigger, stronger. They play harder, they play longer, they play year round in all their sports. They travel, clubs, and injuries are happening. Just because I only have boys, so I can only kind of speak to that. But
Griffin's already broken both his hands.
Yeah, both his arms. But you see kids having Tommy John surgery on their elbows at 12. Pitchers in baseball. And who better to help with these kids and girls, especially because you missed this part. Jenna told me I had no idea that girls age 12 to 17 are the highest risk group for ACL tears. I had no idea. I would have never thought
Well,
that.
then I guess it's a good thing I didn't play all the sports I wanted to when I was a child, because you know me, I would have torn everything like I'm so accident prone and
and the other thing regarding female athletes, as you mentioned, that is, I think of my mom's generation, and my mom's generation, my mom finally got to play basketball on a half court. I mean, that was like the highlight of her athletic career, was even being allowed to play and having a league of girls to play with.
Sure.
So then when you think about my generation, all the girls are playing sports. It's great. It's not, it's not a bad perception anymore. Mm-hmm. But now we have millions and millions of girls signing up to play all these sports, and we don't have the surgeries, even, how do I word it? The technology and methodology of the surgeries is kind of designed for grown men. I mean, it's, these surgeries are designed for pro athletes and crazy skiers back in the 70s. And then they've just tried to get better at it. Yeah. And so that's what I wonder too, is, a big mission of mine as well is making sure these surgeries change and making these surgeries better for females, and making, again, the awareness of these injuries and their significance to females more out there and easier to prevent, because we have the info now. We got the info from the girls of the 90s, which were me. Yeah. And now there's still not much being done about it.
You were the guinea pig generation.
I refuse to let another generation of girls end up like me, is how I feel. Yeah. So
I feel like now they've got the children's hospitals now are more prepared for these, because back in the 90s, like when you were, we're I guess the same age, because that's when I would have been.
She's younger than us.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But like you were getting sent to just like grown up hospital, and like you said, like getting doctors that normally do these kind of surgeries on professional athletes or full grown men. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like it is getting a little bit better in that regard for this generation, because I've even seen the commercials about like, mm-hmm. for CHOA, sure. For Children's Hospital of Atlanta, where it's like, take them places where they have the right things for them, basically.
Yeah, that's a great point. And there's a question in what you just said that I've got to get out. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's huge. Is there, because you're right there at the age where you first tore yours, you're right at that age where it's between a kid and a woman.
Anybody under 18 can go to Children's.
I know, but I'm saying for the anatomy wise, for a surgeon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do they look at it different, Jenna? Whether you're 12 or 18, is there a different surgeon level?
I'm not a surgeon, so I can't speak 100% to that. But from my research and the surgeons I've talked with, typically each surgeon has a technique that they prefer. Mm-hmm. So you might have, surgeon number 1 who prefers the patella tendon graft, and surgeon number 2 who prefers to use cadavers and drill at a vertical angle, and surgeon number 3 who likes to only use hamstring tendon, and then surgeon number 4 who likes the quad tendon graft. And I think there's so much gray area that's why my biggest advice is for people to do research on all of these graft types and on all of these different techniques, and decide openly with your surgery which one is best based on you, your age, your sport, and your anatomy.
Yeah, I feel like all those different options should be patient driven, not surgeon driven.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of my biggest annoyance is, the patella tendon surgeries that I had might have been crazy successful on a 40-year-old man.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But on me, they both failed. And, do I have grounds to say, oh, this is the surgeon's fault? Mm-hmm. Not exactly, because he performed the surgery to the best of his ability with the technique he was taught. Mm-hmm. But should he have educated me on, hey, you're a small female that's petite and you have loose joints, so I think you should see this surgeon? Yes. But that doesn't happen. So,
why don't they educate themselves on the other techniques as well? Is it just I guess it's just they just want to be the best at one thing?
They do their fellowship with and how they're taught.
Sure,
and,
that's a big part.
If you're taught how to cook something one way and someone else does it the next way, you're going to think your cooking is right and theirs is wrong, and it is what it is, and none of them are better or worse than each other, but there's a lot of stats revolving around each surgery. And that's where I think patients should be educated and know what pros and cons go into each graft so they can decide which they think is best. And
right, like what would be best for your anatomy, that know your body better than your doctor does, I think. I mean, and so you could for sure.
Well, that's where your whole...
As to what you're asking about a young female, the hard part too is, the wider the hips of that female, no matter their age. Maybe she's 12 years old and she has really small bones, but her hips are very wide already. And even if you perform the best surgery possible on that person, the angle of their hips is going to cause more force on that knee over time. So if that person isn't involved in a lot of strength training and learning how to move correctly after the surgery and then follow through with that for a long time, they could still have, pain or failed surgeries just based on the angles of their body, so to speak.
Well, and young girls too, their hips haven't, like for me, I know my hips are wildly different than when I was 12 years old because now I've had a child.
Sure.
And
yeah, that's a game changer.
I'm not I'm a pretty petite person too, but I know for a fact that the anatomy has changed. So that's things that these kind of surgeons probably need to keep in mind for long-term, longevity for these kind of things. I guess that's where you come in on trying to coach girls on how to exercise and make sure you're strengthening the right muscles. And
exactly. That's where I think your whole empire, so to speak, or collection of things that you're doing are so valuable. And if people would take the time, and I really hope that some of our listeners, if they have kids, especially if they have girls with any kind of knee problems or are very athletic, if you just took a second and thought about it, the return on investment, regardless of what it costs to hire you, and that doesn't even matter, if it could prevent one or two, so I mean, these surgeries are crazy expensive. My neck surgery, I got the bill, and it was $140,000.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's a house. I mean, I didn't have to pay it. Luckily, my insurance, was good. But I mean, I saw the statement. It was $7,000.
What was it? One of the screws was.
One of the screws was it's it's incredible. But so if you've got an advocate out there, because they tell you to be your best advocate, but you can only be as good of an advocate as your knowledge. And so having someone like you out there with the real experience, I think could not only save their daughter's surgery time and lost, playing time, or just down the road pain. It'd save them money. If you can avoid one or two of those. I can't imagine how much money you've racked up.
The crazy part is, though, a lot of people they think I'm some crazy girl on a soapbox because I've had 8 knee surgeries and that would never happen to their daughter. And
why wouldn't it, though?
I've had a soccer team of girls where 3 girls in 3 weeks tore their ACL.
Jesus.
They called me out to talk with them, and I did all this stuff, and I gave them a huge discount on training their entire team. And the parents decided that they didn't want to pay any extra towards their girls' soccer programs.
See, I couldn't do that on my conscience.
Even when 3 girls had torn their ACL in 1 month.
My conscience would tear me up on that. Where I'd be like, I can't put that juju on little Billy or little Sarah.
Yeah,
we're hiring her.
Yeah, anything like that, we'd be like, okay. I mean, whatever the extra, especially if 3 girls had already torn their. I mean, it's.
You can't pay for what Jenna could offer. Jeez Louise, just imagine being able to bring her into the the surgeon's office.
At that, you mentioned your meniscus issues and how awful they've been. When you tear your ACL, you are 60% more likely to tear your meniscus within 10 years if you didn't already tear it the first time. So then you think of these 12 and 13-year-olds who within 10 years are 60% likely to tear their meniscus, which means they're even closer to being bone on bone at a young, ripe age of 23, And that's what parents don't get. And that's where I'm at. I'm not even 30, and I have the arthritis of a 70-year-old. And people just don't, that'll never happen to me. That'll never. But It is what it is, and surgeries what they are. We want to prevent them at any means possible, So,
Well, I've got to ask one other thing because it's weighing on my mind, and this is huge. How did you become a Tennessee Vol fan? That's way important.
But you're from here and you're volunteers?
I am from here, yes. It was more by birth and blood than by actual natural choice.
And I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm an Alabama fan, so of course me and you hate each other. I grew up in Alabama. Brooke graduated from Georgia.
And I went to LSU, so LSU and Georgia. So
you guys have got all the teams. Then.
I know, we're covering the spread.
But I remember the years where Tennessee was dominant. And as much as I loathe Tennessee for the fun rivalry part, I feel it pisses me off because I know how good that fan base is that they don't, and they're on the right track now. I really do believe that, but that's such a rabid fan base to be so disappointing.
Just bad coach after bad coach after just, my biggest goal in life was to go to UT. I mean, that was like, I wanted to go to UT and I wanted to play soccer for UT because I couldn't be a football player. So I was just going to be a soccer player. But it's funny, I look forward to it my whole life. And then I get there and it's our worst, 10-year span in all of history. So,
so you did go there?
As my friends joke, they're not sure what's worse, my football team or my knees.
No.
So.
Ouch.
Well,
but
I wanted
to answer your question, my grandfather had season tickets to the Vols and the Lady Vols for 50-something years, and then my mom and uncles all went there, and so my mom kind of brainwashed me.
Well, there you go. That'll do it.
Now, Lady Vol tickets with during the Pat Summit era.
I mean that's a no-brainer.
I would have wanted to go see that.
Yeah, that was cool. I get to go see Grandpa and go to football and basketball games. It was pretty great.
Well, I wanted to ask you real quick. We got a couple of listener questions we want to ask you before you go, but I also wanted to ask you this: is I watch your Instagram and I see all these cool alternative methods of rehab that you do, and they may not be alternative, they're just kind of foreign to I think most people, but have you looked into or studied anything about like regenikine and stem cell, and is that something you think down the road could help you because of your age?
Yes, I actually I'm not doing stem cell injections, but I did get my first PRP injection, which is platelet-rich plasma, last week.
I've heard of
that too.
And we're doing a series of 3 of these injections in hopes that we can get my arthritis to calm down so that I can gain strength. And if that doesn't work, we're probably going to have to go back in and remove a screw or 2 and maybe more, but hopefully not. But I did get my first PRP injection, and I will say it feels a lot better around the injection spot. So I'm very intrigued to see what 2 more of these will do, because this is the most relief I remember feeling in the past 8 to 10 months. So nice. Positive so far.
Yeah. Well, how painful are those injections? I've heard mixed reviews from
anything in your knee. I would think is awful.
I mean, how do I word this right? At this point, I don't feel it. My doctor laughs at me because as soon as he puts the numbing, lidocaine, the numbing stuff on, I'm like, oh, this feels great. Can I come in and get this every day?
Right.
It's like, all right, the needle's coming. And I'm like, bring it on, So to me, it feels good because I don't feel anything because he numbs it and my pain goes away.
And it means relief is
I'm
coming.
Sore after, but it's never worse than the pain I go with going in there. So
that's a valid point. Yeah, I just can't imagine getting a needle stuck in my knee. It sounds terrible.
Have you had any? Because I can only imagine with an injury like that, especially to your knee, that you've probably had some muscle atrophy in your quads or hamstrings, right? You'd have to for how much they've been immobilized.
Well, I have part of my hamstring missing from the last surgery I had, and then my quad is non-existent on my left leg.
So is there a possibility it can come back once you get to move it again?
Hopefully, yes. My doctor did tell me it would probably take almost 2 years to get this quad back again. I am about 10 and a half months out of my last surgery, and I've regressed a ton. About 6 months out, I was starting to get a really big, pretty quad again, and then my screw started backing out and everything became really painful. So I've kind of lost all my strength again. So I will have to start over. But, you know, I hope it will come back. And I know that with constant hard work that it has to. So
do you try and concentrate on making it?
The biggest limitation is we've awoken how bad my arthritis is with how bad my weakness is, because you know, the stronger you are, essentially the less pain you feel from arthritis because you have your muscles to absorb the shock, you know?
Around your joints, yeah.
So that's where it's just anything I do now is excruciating, even just a basic flex my quad. So
do you try to like not overwork, I guess, your other quad so that like you're not lopsided, or is it even possible to kind of try and keep it even?
Yes and no. I'm not really doing any lower body right now because everything hurts. So, you know, my other leg gets worked all day by walking around and moving around.
Just overcompensating for the other one.
Yeah. So it's definitely huge and way huger, but you know, I definitely don't do extra stuff to it because I know how much of a difference it is. So,
wow. Well, if you got a couple of minutes, we do have a couple of listener questions we'd love to ask. And
it looks like we just
what I think would be huge, and this is totally up to you, and I'll circle back with you at another time, is after we upload this episode, I can pretty much guarantee that we'll get an influx of questions for you afterwards because they'll know you, our listeners. And so we'd love to have you back on again to answer, because I'm sure we'll get a litany of them, of, you know, parents or even questions that maybe their kids have for you. And we could do another show sometime down the road if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It would be my pleasure.
We'll fire away, babe. Give her the...
all right, so these right here that you just...
Yeah, the last two.
Okay. How important is weight management for knee health?
Ooh, huge. Your knee is... There are portions of the outside of your knee that are the largest shock absorbers in the entire body. And usually anywhere from 6 to 8 times of the force is going through the knee joint. So whatever your body weight is, multiply that by 6 times 8, and that's what your knee's doing every day, essentially.
Good Lord, my knees are getting crushed. My knees are being destroyed.
The look on Randall's face was just like, what?
I'm 245 pounds.
Like a 50-pound squat on top of your body weight times 8, right?
Jeez Louise. No wonder.
But that's why we want our muscles strong to support that joint.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my neurosurgeon, he, and it's funny because how we were talking about all the surgeons are different, but Dr. Belknap comes from the school of thought when it comes to cervical surgeries that he doesn't like to use neck braces or anything. Like I left that surgery with nothing on my neck because he put a plate and screws. He doesn't want the muscles to atrophy or to become dependent. You know, he thinks the plate and the screws are enough, and to let them do their job, and luckily it went great for me. I mean, I can't complain about it, but you know.
Well, that's very good news.
If somebody comes in with bad knees, like not necessarily a sports injury, but they're like grossly overweight, I feel like the first thing, like before a doctor would even do surgery, that's why they'd be like, you have to lose X amount of weight before, because it's pointless to do surgery on somebody that.
Right. For surgery safety, and you know, the biggest thing they tell you is to get strong. So on top of that, lose weight and get strong, right?
Right. And then you might not need knee surgery.
Well, yeah, and surgeons don't like to have or at least the ones I know, they don't want the negative outcomes on their record and stats. And so they'll be like, you know what?
You're pissing in the wind
I don't
if you're
want
doing
you,
that. Yeah.
You got to lose weight because if I put a new patella tendon in your knee, and then you blow it out just because you're overweight, you got to lose 25 pounds before I'll do it.
It's just going to be a waste.
Well, and that's big too in the recovery process. If you're overweight and you're super weak and your muscles are atrophied, you're going to have such a much tougher time going through all of that. So,
I would think that also, I'm sure you touch on this with clients, is coming back too soon from a lot of these injuries for girls. Almost doing what you did, where you were like 7 months. Because I thought I heard you say, like, you knew in your head you weren't 100%, but your doctor cleared you, so you were like, all right, cool. Which is what I would do.
You were you were, You can't say shit about that.
You kind of got
new studies are showing that for every month after 9 months post-op that you wait to return to sport after ACL reconstruction, your chance of re-injury decreases by up to 50%.
Jeez.
So if you wait 10 months, it's 50% less. 11 months, 50% less after that. I mean, so I get that, and I was that kid. I wanted to return as fast as possible, but bigger picture.
Just go to the weight room or something.
And that's what drives me crazy. Again, I'm not a surgeon, but if I was a surgeon and I saw those stats about 9 months, I would never allow anyone, unless they were, an Olympian that needed to compete, to return before 9 months. I mean, there's no point. It's not good for the person, the surgeon, the longevity. So
there's literally no point. Okay. I don't know what this word is that you wrote next to this, but it's not part of it. I'm just.
Okay, then it's not. If I wrote it beside it, then it's not part of it.
You were just doodling something, and I can't read it.
Writing a thought down.
Okay. All right. So this is the last question. I follow Jenna on Instagram, and she is awesome. Is she single?
We always get that every time we have a woman on.
Every time
it might be the same guy too. Man, he needs to get a girlfriend.
Oh.
Yes, I am.
There you go.
All right, we're 2 for 2. Maggie and Jenna are both single.
If you like Tennessee football, there you go. That's huge. Well, Jenna, we really appreciate you. This has been awesome. I'm sorry we took so much of your time up. It was longer than I expected.
No, I love talking about this. So it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I will get back to you soon. We'll probably get this episode up in the next
Tomorrow.
day or so.
So where can everybody find you on social media and elsewhere?
Social media is at Jenactive, JENNACTIVE. And my website is jenactive.com. And my YouTube, I believe, is under Jenna Minecci, but it's linked to all of those. So
awesome.
Basically Jenactive anything. And then you can find the book on Amazon. It's called Surviving 7.
Awesome. We'll put all those in the show notes and everything that we post, and then I'll send that to you as well, the link, so you can share it on any of your social media. But I expect totally to circle back, and we'd be honored to have you again to answer questions and help spread the word, because I think you're a huge asset to people, especially here in Atlanta with you around. Jeez Louise, some of these sports, I've never seen so much money in these young kids' sports. It's everywhere.
No, this is true.
Yeah. No kidding.
Thank you so much again, and you have a wonderful night. Jenna, it's great to meet you.
Thank you. You guys too, and I look forward to the next one.
Awesome. Let's do it. Have a good night.
You too.
Right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Suck me.
Why?
We're back.
We're back. We just hung up the phone with Jenna.
Yes, that went very well. I enjoyed it, and I totally look forward to having her back and having some listener questions for her.
Yeah, she's awesome and very knowledgeable, and I apologize for missing the majority of that interview, but it was scheduled at a very poor time for me personally.
Well, she's a lot like us. She goes to bed at 9.
Yeah, no, I don't blame her for wanting to get on at 8:20, but it's like I just get home from the gym at like 8:10 and on Mondays.
Yeah, no,
and
totally
Wednesdays. Fine. So, but the only other thing we were going to talk about was Walking Dead.
absolutely. Went to the mid-season finale last night.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I don't think so. The last time we did like an official Walking Dead recap was episodes 5 and 6. We kind of combined those.
Hold your dick.
Oh wait, fuck me.
Get your shot.
Yeah.
Also, we'd like to thank Muscle Vodka.
Yeah, I did. We haven't thanked any of our sponsors.
No,
Muscle Vodka.
Muscle Vodka in the house. Here,
Bidet.
Got a shot here to take for you. Some tits of pineapple.
Delicioso. And Bidet, thanks for keeping our butts clean. Spunk Lube for keeping things
Wiener
shiny.
Schlick.
I don't have another shot.
I know. I've got one I want to try a taste of.
Okay.
I call it the Long Dick Muscle Man.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's banana and
So it's named
Muscle
after
Vodka.
you?
Yes, the Long Dick Muscle Man. Nope.
Fuck. Why are you saying nope and then handing it to me? What did you say it was? Vodka and what?
And the banana liqueur.
It's right up your alley, sir. Drink it.
No.
Quit being a bitch.
It tastes like shit.
We did that before.
No, I threw in whiskey to make it the Big Dick Irishman.
Yeah.
I've never done a Long Dick Muscle Man.
I thought you just made a different name.
No, these are all different shots. Running out of options.
We only have like 3 or 4 different kinds of liquor in this house.
Nope. I'm good. You don't have to take it either. It's a bad concoction.
Why is it so?
Just stick your tongue in the tip.
Oh, why is it so full? It's spilling everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I can.
All right, so that went well. Yes, thank you to the sponsors. We appreciate you. Love you.
Give me that. Whatever you did. You have something to wipe something? Give me that. Give it to me. I mean, don't keep.
And we thank you for being on board.
Yes, we
On our
appreciate
professional podcast.
all of our sponsors.
So yeah, back to Walking Dead and the mid-season finale. That
Yes.
was actually
So good.
Walking Dead's been good the last 3 episodes.
This whole
again.
season has been good.
I know. Let me finish, and then I'll step out and let you do everything.
Don't step out because I don't like
Talking
talking to
about-
nobody.
I'll get out of the way so you can do your thing.
Okay.
But for me, as the one that has to eat crow, because I said I was done when Rick left, I'm happy to eat the crow because I actually like the show again.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with eating my own ass.
Exciting.
Because it was really good. I don't think they had a choice. They had to swing hard if they wanted to prolong this thing, and I think they did well. So go ahead.
They're doing good. So I
Rest
know
in
we.
peace, Jesus. Fuck you.
You're an asshole.
They don't know what it means yet, though. Go.
I mean, what else could that mean? You're such a
I don't know,
shit.
sir.
Maybe I'll edit that out.
No, leave it. It's funny. But go ahead and go into the whole recap.
Okay, so I know we last time talked about we talked about the potential whisperers coming up that everybody knows about from the comic books. So when that episode, the last episode ended that we talked about, I believe is when Rosita and Eugene were like being chased by some herd and you could hear him talking.
And Eugene thought they were evolving. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what your first thought would be in that situation.
I'm not saying
you know,
that's bad. I'm just saying that was the initial thought, but now.
Right. Yeah. So there was an episode kind of in between before this mid-season finale where it was kind of building up to this one where it was like Carol is hanging out with Daryl in the woods.
Oh,
blah, 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 blah.
shit.
Daryl has a dog named, wait for it, Dog. Its name is Dog.
Tell them about the gayest scene ever shot in television. And I'm not saying gay in a bad way. I'm saying gay in the greatest way.
Yes,
And
that was
we're
in the
pro
last one.
Hetero, homo, sexual.
and
It
I'm
doesn't matter
pro-
here.
I'm so pro this relationship on this show too, because ever since Aaron's boyfriend died a couple seasons ago, and he was like confiding in Jesus, I was like, oh, these two
Yeah,
cutie
you've been
pies.
calling that a while.
Yeah, that was many seasons ago. I was like, they just need to hook up because they're really like the only two gay guys that we know of in the apocalypse. But yes,
You have to set the scene and everything in
Okay.
case people don't watch this.
So
The gayest thing I've ever seen.
This was the beginning of the last episode, I think, where it's so Jesus is now leading the hilltop. Aaron is one of the like main dudes from Alexandria. Everybody's kind of in their own community, whatever. Aaron and Jesus apparently have been meeting up to hang out. You don't really ever see anything like sexual with them. It's just implied that like they probably dig each other and have a very close relationship. But they meet up and they're like riding on horses or whatever. Or no. So is it Jesus? Jesus is just riding along on a horse. Riding along. All of a sudden, like before he meets up with anybody, he's just riding along. You just see somebody come jumping out of the side, like off camera, jumps and like tackles him off the horse. And at first you're like, oh shit. But then it's Aaron.
In a field of waist-high flowers.
They're not in
and
flowers.
overgrowth.
But it's just everything's overgrown. It's the apocalypse. Yeah. But they're like in some field, like in a meadow. And then they're like, you're like, oh, it's Aaron. And then it's just, it turns into this like playful, like capoeira, like style, like choreographed fight scene.
Fight dancing.
That's what capoeira is, baby. Yeah. But we were just like, huh? Like it was like, it was very like cheeky and like.
If they wanted to tell you these guys were gay without saying they're gay, that's exactly what they would do. And that's what they did. That's all it was. And it was great. Well done. But Point received.
Yes, we
without
get it.
Anal sex, you don't need it. That cleared everything up.
It was the clearest way to show these guys like each other.
Nothing wrong with that.
Rather than showing them like making out. I mean, but it was so silly, but I thought it was cute. I was like, oh, because they're like, I don't know, Aaron and Jesus are both very cute, and I like them a lot. But I forgot about that because you were like, that's literally, I think, the gayest thing that's been on TV, but like just to show how two guys like each other.
No, I mean, they
just in like a funny way.
To me.
Yeah. Love them.
And kept it apocalyptic because they were training at the same time.
And kept it like, I mean, a little bit like gangster because Jesus, that's what I've missed most about that character. It's like he was like straight up ninja badass forever. And then now he's been so like just.
He's been so nonviolent. He took over Morgan's place as the peaceful one.
Yeah. So, all right. So there were some things happening in that episode. Like, yeah, Carol gets Daryl to come back to Hilltop with her to kind of keep an eye on Henry or whatever. They get back there and then find out that Rosita, or no, they find Rosita.
She's been found. And
they
she's
find
in
Rosita.
The infirmary. Yeah,
they find Rosita by herself, like fucking going nuts in the woods, and like she's like, Eugene's lost. So they take her back to the Hilltop, then they go out to look for Eugene. So that's where this mid-season finale starting, pretty much like Aaron, Daryl, and Jesus are out looking for Eugene. And
another funny point.
What?
They're out there, and Daryl's the tracker. For people that don't listen.
And he's got a dog now.
Yeah, but he's known as the tracker. Aaron even said it. They could use a good tracker. So that's what Daryl's out for.
He's always been that, yeah.
And they're out, and Daryl's, 100 yards in front of Aaron and Jesus. And Daryl does the hilarious, typical, like, get down on a knee. And basically everything from, like Bill Paxton did in Twister, where he picked up the sand and let it run through his hand. And then he said, going green, after he sees the sky too. Daryl's like, shh, the wind is carrying our voices. They know where we're at. It's just so ridiculous. Like how he's, and he has been living out in the woods. So technically
that's a legit.
I know. It's just funny to watch that be portrayed on TV. Like he's like, the wind.
No, he was saying the wind was he could hear the herd. So they're going to look for Eugene. They keep encountering this herd, which is the same herd that
being abnormal.
that was following Eugene and Rosita. Now they find this herd milling, and everybody's probably seen, if you haven't watched the episodes, you've at least probably seen the commercials where you see, and I talked about it forever ago too, where they're all sitting there looking at it, and this herd is just like milling around in the middle of this field, and they're like, what the fuck are they doing? I've never seen a herd do this. What's happening? And so then they're like doing everything they can to like draw the herd in different directions from where they're going. And it, you know, it works at first. They're like, Daryl like throws an alarm clock or whatever, and then they see the herd like all going towards it. They're like, cool, we're going to go this other way that we know Eugene is. They find this barn because Rosita said Eugene's in a barn and probably gave them some kind of general direction. They find a barn. Eugene's in there. He's fucking losing his mind. He's like, the herd is after me. It's come by here like 2 or 3 times. Same herd. He swears has come by 2 or 3 times. He starts telling them all, like, he's like, I heard them talking to each other. Rosita can corroborate my story. I swear to God, they were talking. Everybody's looking at him like, he's got 3 heads. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then while they're there talking to Eugene, the same herd starts rolling up on the barn, and he's like, it's the same fucking herd, I promise you. And they're like, there's no way. They start to kind of realize it is the same herd. They're like, Eugene's hurt from when he like jumped off the water tower or whatever. So he's got like a broken ankle or something. Dislocated knee. Something below the waist is fucked up.
That's what it is. It's a dislocated knee.
He's can't walk on his leg though. And so like 2 of them are carrying him, and then Daryl's like, I'm just going to go try and distract this herd. You guys head this way. I'm going to go
to the horses.
To the horses, yes, to the transportation. And so him and his dog go, and they like try and set off fireworks, and the dog's barking, which would 10 times out of 10 draw a herd in that direction. Well, this time it don't work. Like, he literally throws fireworks. The dog's barking like crazy. A couple of them kind of turn, but then they turn back the direction they're going and keep heading in where they were going. And it's like never in the history of zombies anywhere. And then now they've been in this apocalypse for like 10 years, but never seen them act like that. So Daryl's like, what the fuck? And so him and his dog end up going and catching up with Eugene and them, who happen to, I mean, it's like the creepiest scene ever, because it's like there's a storm coming, so it's like windy and like there's this fog that's rolled in. Well, and Eugene and Jesus and Aaron have now come across a super creepy old cemetery like in the middle of the woods that's got like a gate around it, so they've like somehow fit through some hole in the wall. Herd's right behind them. Daryl's right behind them, or Daryl catches up to him. Now they're all like in this enclosed cemetery. Herd is like piling into the cemetery, and they're like, all right, let's do this. And Eugene's like back up against the gate, and they're kind of like trickling in. So like Aaron and Jesus and Daryl are like blah blah blah, like killing a few walkers here and there. Then they hear somebody on the other side of the gate. Well, then like it's Michonne and what's the other, Magda, one of the new people. I think her name's Magda. And they're trying to get the gate open for them to come out on the other side of the cemetery, because now they're trapped in this like freaking gated area with a herd that's piling in. And Jesus is like, it's cool, guys. Like, you focus on trying to get this gate open. I'm going to work on these guys, because it's not like overwhelming the volume of them yet. So then it's like all Jesus ninja mode. Like, he's like having fun with it, almost like just stabbing zombies in the head and killing them left and right. And then it's like, it was one of the fucking coolest things on the show, I think, where it's like he's just doing his whole choreograph, like like slashing zombies in the head. He goes to like headshot one. I think he's got a machete. Is that what he's got some type of like sword or machete or something.
Who?
Jesus.
Jesus has a sword.
Was it a
just
sword? Like Michonne?
Yeah.
He's got like, okay. So he's slash. He turns around to go slash one in the head, and it fucking ducks, turns around, and stabs him through the back and through his stomach chest area. It was I yelled at the TV. I was like, holy shit. Like, cause I mean, I knew something like that was coming. Cause the whole, anything about the Whisperers that you've heard is that they're walking with the zombies. Like they're somehow integrated themselves. So how they did that, you don't know. And clearly there would have to be real zombies in there. But this person looked just like a walker that was a reanimated corpse. And all of a sudden, I mean, it was walking along like just like all the others. And then all of a sudden it ducks out of the way, flips around and has a weapon and stabs him through the chest, like through the back. And so, yeah. Jesus is dead. And right when he did that, though, everybody I think Daryl shot the guy in the head with an arrow right when that happened, because they had now made it onto the other side of the gate with Eugene and Michonne and Magda. So and they were all like, what the fuck? So Daryl shoots that guy in the head. Now there's like 2 or 3 other walkers that are all of a sudden ready to fight. And it ended up being like a total of like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, I think so.
So it becomes a fight with these other walkers that are all of a sudden fighting back, and they kill them all. And then so they're like, what is, like, they're all freaking the fuck out. And Daryl like rolls one over and sees like on the back of its head, it looks like it's kind of sewed on. Cuts that shit, and it's like a Michael Myers mask that he pulls off. Like you see Daryl like kind of cut the back of this guy's head, pulls it off. It's literally like the fucking scariest, creepiest.
It's a Leatherface.
It's literally a human skin. I mean, a zombie face. It's a mask that they cut off of a zombie and used it as a mask, and it's just a normal person under there that is now dead that they killed. But and super gross looking because they've been wearing dead people's skin. But that's basically the biggest thing that happened on that. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Shut your mouth. If you fucking say it, like you just ruined the first thing. So another part that was huge. So they showed a couple scenes of Negan in his cell, Gabriel talking to him. Gabriel's like trying to be all, I'm gonna find the human in you, like trying to chip away at his Negan exterior. And then he's getting fed up with him. I think it's like a couple different visits that you see in this episode of Gabriel, and they're talking to him, just trying to get something out of him. And then Gabriel loses his shit, gets pissed at him because he's worried about Rosita. He's in there and he's like, God, I don't want to hear your shit anymore. Storms out. And later in the episode, you see Negan sitting there. He's got like a tennis ball and a baseball glove that he always sits there and like tosses up against the wall. And so he's tossing it up against the wall, and then it like gets outside of his cell, and he's like, God damn it. But then you see him kind of like looking, and then he gets up and walks across his cell and just pushes the door open. Like Gabriel forgot.
He sees it's cracked.
He sees it's cracked. That's why he's looking at it like, huh? And yeah, just pushes it open. So apparently Gabriel, when he got all pissy with him, forgot to lock the cell when he left. So you see like the look on his face, and it's like this little maniacal smile. And so clearly he's fucking, I mean, you don't see him leave, but he like walks out, and then he's like, oh shit. And so that's, I think, even where it ended. I think we saw that after Jesus died.
Yeah.
But So that was the mid-season finale. The previews for the mid-season premiere that will be in February shows, of course, they have to bury Jesus, which is super sad. And they show Negan looks like he has Lucille.
No, he has
or a version.
Stick. Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't Lucille.
No.
Where is Lucille? Do we even know? I don't even think we know. Michonne just said she's out there, I think, to him, just to fuck with him. But it looks like he goes back to the sanctuary.
He does.
Which is done for, but you hear like his little whistle that I can't do it. Whatever he did with the saviors. But it's going to be good. I mean, he's out and about. I wonder how the fuck he gets out of Alexandria without being detected, though. That's what I want to know.
He's been there for years. People are now not even looking for him to escape. And it was
But like to get out of the gate.
Oh, there's no telling, but they fucked the pooch. Here's all you need to know about this entire turn of events for our friends on The Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. Every bit of this shit is Gabriel's fault. Had he been killed, like I said forever ago, trash lady, if he had stood up for his trash lady he was banging, she wouldn't have got so pissed at Rick for accusing her. Went back to the junkyard, called the shit, total different. That would be different. Had he not fucked the pooch, left the gate open, Negan doesn't escape.
We don't know what repercussions that has yet, though. These whisperers are way worse than Negan.
And if he'd keep his horrible wiener in his pants. It's the second chick that he's messed with that has caused some shit. Because now Rosita gets out, gets in trouble. That's what gets him all bamboozled and frustrated with Negan, causes him to
he's
forget.
blaming himself because he said he sent her out there to go put the repeater up.
If he doesn't off himself, he's not a true Christian.
I don't know if he can, but I feel like maybe Negan will, even though he's out and has been imprisoned by these people forever, maybe he will have a soft spot for his captors and they can team up against these fucking horrible whisperers, because these people, the guy that killed Jesus like said something to him, like he like stabs him in the back and then like pulls him in and like says like, this is what you get from being places you shouldn't be or something. It was like, oh, what? And you walking around in zombie skin? Like, that's cool. Like, what are you talking about? It was very like, you shouldn't be trying to be civilized again, basically, is what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, and they have a penchant for killing off the dudes that Aaron falls in love with. It's his second boyfriend that gets smoked.
Well, his first one just got killed by regular zombies.
Smoked? Yeah.
Saviors and zombies, because I think he got shot in like the stomach, which was he was done for, and then just he turned into a zombie, because remember he saw him walking off into the field.
Yeah. I'm saying is, don't fuck with Aaron.
No, he's cursed.
Get you dead. And
I don't think there's any more gay people in the apocalypse
that we've. Somebody.
I know.
Daryl's still open for debate if Carol doesn't lock him down.
Very true.
But the best part of the whole episode, and the last three, is the size of Aaron's ginormous Happy Gilmore arm that Carl Weathers had as the fake hand. The alligator bites the wooden hand.
Oh, his is like made out of metal. It's comical, but I mean, it's what else would you come up with?
No, it's just funny. That some bitch hangs past his knee on that side. Like, I commend them, because if it would have been perfect, I'd be like, how the fuck they make a perfect hand?
Exactly. No, that's why I think it's great, because they don't have the technology to make it perfect. And he also gets to use it, like, I mean, you see in the episode last night. Yeah, he sticks it in their mouth and then like stabs them up in the. So I mean, it's a great tool in that regard, that he could shove it right in Walker's mouth.
Carol's son got sauced.
Oh, he got hammered
by some doucher teenagers at the hilltop.
Yeah.
And almost lost his job as a blacksmith apprentice to the guy that almost killed Maggie.
Right.
And Yeah, those kids were keeping a zombie as like a pet and fucking with it, teasing it.
They had it in a
playing
hole
games.
in the back. Yeah, they were like playing like ring toss on its head, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
And for some reason, everyone hates Michonne now. Everybody's animosity towards her for
everyone
some decision
hates Michonne. Yeah,
that we don't know about yet.
And we saw on the last one too. So we've seen at some point since this time jump, Michonne has like this big X scar on her back. Like, Daryl has the same one we saw in the last episode. So there's something that happened, like some kind of event must have happened that's related to her decision that has made everybody hate her.
Can anybody suffer more abuse in their life than Daryl has?
Nobody.
He was abused as a kid.
Nobody.
And then he was captured by Negan and played that horrible song and tortured. And then some rascals with the X and the damn Terminus
Daryl's been...
That's some bitch.
That's why he's out in the woods by himself with his dog.
Agreed. But damn.
I know.
Pass it on to someone else.
Bless
Can they
him.
not write him a happy time? Let him be gay with Aaron for at least the season and enjoy some... Get a shower, a cut, maybe some sex.
He deserves to be happy. He should hook up with Aaron.
I'm not kidding. I want to lighten the load on old Daryl for a minute.
Yeah. But that's whatever Michonne's decision was, like, Sadiq was like, you know, I'm on your side, because they were at the hilltop and everybody's kind of weird towards her. She doesn't want to have anything to do with this fair they're trying to have at the kingdom. And
horrible flapjack tits girl hated her. It was clear.
Who's Flapjack? Oh, Tara?
Yeah.
Flapjack tits.
Yeah.
She's always wearing like a t-shirt and a jacket.
Nah, she's got some old big sock tits.
Oh. But she said to Sadiq, like, yeah, whatever decision I made, at least they're alive and can be mad at me for it. So I don't know what the fuck happened. Some shit went down after Rick is gone. But that's about the high points, I think. So yeah, Jesus is dead. So sad. I love Jesus. But
I think no one stabbed him in the head yet, like he said on Talking Dead.
Oh, I know, right? Well, they will.
Hopefully, but as of now, you never trust these fuckers. You never know. But he's dead.
They showed them burying him. I mean, they all know that if somebody doesn't get stabbed in the head, you have to do that.
Babe, I know what's normal. It looks like it for sure. But sometimes what it looks like with them is pure fuckery.
What if they keep him as a pet?
Or if he's still alive.
No. They said on Talking Dead he's dead. Because that's what Chris Hardwick was like, we didn't see your head.
Yeah. Well, and, we have heard a lot of inklings now about the Rick and Fear the Walking Dead crossover. Uh-huh. And it sounds like that is going to be something.
He's going to have had amnesia, though. I can't even imagine he's not going to try and get back to Michonne and Judah. But I don't know. But if he hooks up with Morgan, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, so Jesus dead, Negan out.
Mm-hmm.
And February, it will be back. Yeah. I don't know what day in February, but...
February 10th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's it for this episode.
Yep.
That was a good episode, though. And it's not so much of a cliffhanger that I'm pissed off. Like, it's just enough.
Mm-hmm. No,
Negan,
it is.
I mean, I was about to be like, if they don't give Negan more time...
No, they did.
I'm out. Because they're not even using the guy. But now...
there was enough else going on, but now it's like, okay, let him out right when this whole new fucking group of horrifying people shows up.
Yeah, I need Michonne to die at this point. Her, Gabriel, and Rosita, too. I don't like Rosita. What? Oh, Eugene, too. Kill the turds. Actually, Eugene should go first.
Your cord is rubbing up against the mic.
Hopefully he's taught someone else how to make bullets by this point.
Surely by now,
Just
after 6 years.
He's a liability. These people that are liabilities got to go.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. All right.
We'll see.
Well, shout out to some of our favorite shows.
Drinks with Larry.
Drinks with Larry, Tits.
Po' Boys.
Yeah. Civilized Creatures. If you think you got what it takes and you want to be a member of this crew, it's probably not going to happen. You can ask. And I'll consider it. So will Larry and the folks at Drinks with Larry.
Yeah. I am Blunt Mommy.
Hashtag no offense.
Cinemondo. Murderish.
Yep. Shit happens when you party naked and fuck.
Ooh, that's not the name of their podcast. Shit happens when you party naked.
No, Almy had a great interview today with Jody B. I listened to it. It was pretty fucking good. Different side of Almy. I liked it. A little more serious. He got to be he's a smart guy. Big academia. You shut it.
No, it's driving me nuts.
No, it's not bothering anyone else. I don't hear anyone else complaining to us.
Shut up.
You said Blunt Mommy, right?
I think
Po'
so.
Boys Podcast.
I said that.
So yeah, check some of those shows out. Bearded Dad Podcast, Shane Brazelfuck. Boy, did he have a night. We will get into that on our next episode.
Yeah.
Believe me, there's plenty. And all you got to do, watch the movie Old School and watch when Frank the Tank takes that first...
so good
when he
when
funnels
it touches your
the
lips.
first beer. I'm going to do one beer, pour it in.
Yeah.
That was Shane Brazelfuck this weekend in
At
Tuscaloosa.
his son's house.
Boy, was it embarrassing and awesome. And entertaining. We'll talk about that Thursday when we record. No idea when that'll post, but we'll talk about it Thursday.
Next time. This is episode 60, so that'll be 61.
Yep.
All
So you fucks enjoy yourselves and masturbate until you're chafed. Fuck yeah.
It's aggressive.